Differences between over-the-board and online chess. Introduction. You've been playing and enjoying online chess for a while, and recently, you've become interested in playing over-the-board chess. However, you feel intimidated by it and are trying to figure out what to expect. Am I going to be subjected to intense Grandmaster stares on every move? Will I be welcomed into the chess club as a newer player? These doubts are expected to have. In this post, I'll explain the differences between playing over the board and online so you can more easily make the transition and know what to expect. First difference, 3D versus 2D. First difference, 3D versus 2D. It's certainly an obvious point that you'll be moving physical pieces on a physical chessboard when playing over the board, OTB for short, but there's more to it than that. You'll also be playing with a chess clock, which shows you how much time you have left for the rest of the game, just like Lichess shows the clock times. The difference, however, is that in OTB play, the clock doesn't automatically stop for you and starts for the opponent when you make your move. You complete your move when you press the clock. Note that, like on Lichess, you lose the game if you lose on time unless there's no legal series of moves to checkmate your king, in which case, the game is a draw. In some countries, the organizer will provide chessboards and clocks for you to play on. But in other countries, such as the US, you'll have to bring your own chess set and chess clock to play with. Various sets are available, but the Staunton chess sets are the closest to standard tournament chess sets. As for clocks, almost any digital chess clock should be fine. Make sure it has batteries. A more subtle point, for the more competitive players, is that you may process things differently on a physical board than on the online 2D board. You may like to play some practice games on a physical chessboard before your first tournament to get used to the different look of the board. You don't necessarily need a training partner to do this. You can make the moves on the physical board while playing your Lichess Rapid or classical chess to help your brain adjust to the new setting. Second difference, writing the moves. On Lichess, you don't have to worry about writing down the game's moves. The moves are automatically recorded and saved for you to review whenever you want. Post-game analysis is best saved for another post. Using chess notation, you must write down the game's moves over the board. Lichess has a great free resource here if you need help with chess notation/coordinates. You'll probably be used to this by the time you play your second round of the tournament, but it's something you may still like to practice beforehand. There are some more subtle rules. For instance, you can't write down your intended move before you play it, as that's considered note-taking, but overall, you should be fine here. If you're wondering why it's essential to write down the moves, it's so that you have a record of the game in case of any claims or disputes. Difference, claiming a draw. On Lichess, when you press the draw button, you are automatically awarded the draw if the position on the board is a threefold repetition, or if you have reached the 50-move rule, 50 moves played by each side without a pawn move or capture. Over the board, this process is a bit more involved. Draw claims even trip up strong players sometimes, so here's the way to do it. Please wait for a threefold repetition or 50-move rule claim until it is your move. Instead of playing your move, write down your intended move, stop the clock, and then call over the arbiter/director of play, the person who directs the tournament play, to make your draw claim, e.g. I claim a draw by threefold repetition with my intended move 59, re7, e8. After that, if the players disagree that it is a threefold repetition/50 move rule, the judge will play the game on a chessboard to verify whether the claim is correct or incorrect. If it's correct, the game is immediately declared a draw. If not, the game continues, and the player who made the incorrect claim loses a small amount of clock time. Fourth difference, chess etiquette. Another difference with over-the-board play is the etiquette and customs of the game. Much like you see in martial arts, with the combatants bowing to one another before a fight, as a showing of respect, we show respect to our opponent by shaking the opponent's hand as the game starts. We also shake hands when the game ends, whether by checkmate, resignation, or the various ways a game can end in a draw. Some famous stories show grandmasters refusing to shake the opponent's hand and losing the game. If you're in an area heavily impacted by COVID and want to minimize your risk of disease, you can do the elbow bump instead, as the players in the 2025 candidates did. Wearing a face mask is also fine during OTB chess tournaments. Some other examples of chess etiquette include not eating at the board, unless the opponent says it's okay, and not doing things that may distract your opponent or other players in the tournament venue, such as talking loudly, making loud noises, or constantly glaring at the opponent. You are not meant to speak to your opponent except to offer a draw, resign, or call over the judge. Most consider it slightly insulting to keep saying, check, which is not required at all. Fifth difference, electronic devices. During an online chess game, you may be distracted by different things, such as scrolling Facebook on your mobile or even answering a text while waiting for your opponent to move. In over-the-board play, any usage of electronic devices during the game is strictly prohibited due to the risk of someone potentially using these devices to cheat with chess engines or otherwise receive advice electronically during the game, such as the Feller/Hochard/Marzolo case in the 2010 Connie Manziusk Chess Olympiad. If you are found using a mobile phone or any other electronic device at any point during the game, you will lose the game automatically. And if your mobile phone rings or makes any sound during the game, you will lose the game immediately, and the game will be rated. So the best approach is to either ensure your mobile phone is off and can't accidentally turn on in your pocket, or leave your mobile and watches behind when playing chess games. Yes, even watches are now banned from tournaments. Sixth difference: dress codes. When playing over-the-board chess, it's good to know of any dress requirements at the venue where you are playing. For instance, you may not be permitted entrance into a club where a tournament is being held in shorts, a short-sleeved, gym, shirt, or sandals. Even at World Championship level events, players, not always reasonably, have been punished in some way for their choice of dress. When playing a tournament, checking the dress code and ensuring you follow it is a good idea. Avoid possible gray areas, as only some judges or organizers possess the common sense that you and I take for granted. Seventh difference: set schedule. The final difference with over-the-board chess tournaments is that they have a set schedule. If you miss a round, you will lose the game, leave your opponent waiting for you not to show up, and likely be withdrawn from the tournament, and potentially banned from playing local tournaments for some time. Make sure you know the schedule, have a record of it to keep track, and arrive on time for each of your games. Some tournaments even have a zero-tolerance policy, where any player not at the board when the round starts automatically loses the game. If you can't make one or several rounds, let the organizers know well in advance, so that they can leave you out of the pairings for those rounds. You'll also notice that over-the-board tournaments have a separate rating system, and your game results will influence your initial rating. It's easy to understand. Summary. To summarize, here are the main things you should keep in mind before playing your first over-the-board chess tournament. 1. Bring a chess set and clock, at least for US tournaments, and practice with a 3D board and clock before the tournament. 2. Write down each move after you make it and the opponent's moves. 3. Claim a draw by writing down your intended move, stopping the clock, and then calling over a referee to enforce your draw claim by threefold repetition or 50-move rule. 4. Shake hands at the start and end of the game, and don't do anything to distract your opponent or other players intentionally. 5. Don't use your mobile phone during the game. Ideally, don't have your mobile phone or watch on you during the game. 6. Know the dress code and don't wear anything that could be interpreted as breaking that code. 7. Know the schedule beforehand and make sure you're present at the start of each round. Good luck in your next over-the-board chess tournament.